The last time Ada saw Chioma, they were girls whispering secrets under the moonlight. Now, as she stared at the broken woman, shackled in the courtroom, accused of murder, abandoned by all, Ada realized the chilling truth. This was her fault, and the only way to fix it all was to burn her perfect life to the ground. In the quiet village of Umunri, nestled between rolling hills and whispering palm trees, two girls drew their first breaths on the same stormy night. The villagers said it was a sign. When Ada and Chioma entered the world, to the sound of thunder and the smell of wet earth, their destinies became forever intertwined. From the moment they could walk, the girls were inseparable. Every morning they would race barefoot down the dusty path to the stream, their laughter mingling with the chirping of weaver birds. Chioma, always the fastest, would reach the water first, but she would wait patiently to help Ada balance the heavy clay pot on her head for the journey back. At the village school, the girls shared one wooden bench, their elbows bumping as they practiced writing letters in the sand. When teacher Obi scolded Ada for daydreaming during lessons, Chioma would quietly whisper the answer to her. And when Chioma struggled with arithmetic, Ada would stay after school to help her count using pebbles and sticks. The other children called them twins of different mothers. They traded secrets under the moonlight, braided each other's hair before festivals, and shared every joy and sorrow. On Chioma's 10th birthday, when a fever kept her in bed, Ada sat by her side for 3 days, singing their favorite songs and feeding her spoonfuls of bitter herbal medicine. One evening, as they sat by the fire listening to Elder Nwoko tell stories of the ancestors, the girls made a solemn promise. With their little fingers intertwined and the orange flames dancing in their eyes, they swore, no matter where life takes us, no matter how many seasons pass, we will always be sisters of the heart. But life had other plans. As the years went by, the differences between them grew more noticeable. Ada's family prospered when her father's yam harvests were plentiful, while Chioma's family struggled through droughts. Yet their friendship remained strong until the day the marriage proposals came. The village was excited when a wealthy businessman from Lagos asked for Ada's hand in marriage, offering a bride price that made even the elders scream. That same week, Chioma accepted a proposal from Okeke, the kind but poor palm wine tapper, who had loved her since childhood. On their wedding day, the two friends clung to each other, their tears mixing like the rain that had welcomed them into the world. "This isn't goodbye," Ada whispered fiercely. "No matter where we are, we will always find each other." Chioma could only nod, her voice trapped in her throat by sorrow, as Ada rode away in her husband's shiny car, and Chioma walked barefoot to her new husband's mud brick hut. Neither could imagine how severely their friendship would be tested in the years to come. The village children who had once played together now grew up in different worlds, one of privilege in the bustling city, and one of hardship in the struggling village. But true friendship, like the ancient baobab tree, has roots that run deeper than what the eyes can see. Little did they know that their childhood promises would one day mean the difference between life and death. The night the storm came to Umunri, Chioma knew something was wrong even before the pounding on her door began. She had been sitting alone in her dimly lit hut, stirring a pot of bitter leaf soup over the fire when the first thunderclap shook the walls. The palm fronds roofing her home rattled like the bones of her ancestors, and the kerosene lamp flickered widely, casting airy shadows across the mud walls. Then came the voices, angry, slurred with palm wine. Witch, child killer, open the door. The flimsy wooden door burst inward before Chioma could rise from her stool. Okeke's three brothers, Uche, Emeka, and the youngest Obinna, staggered in, their eyes bloodshot with rage and liquor. The eldest Uche held a rusted machete that glinted in the firelight. Chioma's calabash bowl slid from her hands, shattering on the packed earth floor. Brothers, what is? Emeka grabbed her by the wrist, yanking her up so violently that her wrapper came loose. You think we don't know? You killed our brother with your barren womb and witches' potions. The accusations hit Chioma like a physical blow. Okeke had died just 2 months prior, a slow, painful, and wasteful sickness. Even the village doctor could not name it. Chioma had sold her last 2 goats to buy medicines from the traveling herbalist, but nothing had helped. I loved my husband, Chioma cried, as Obinna twisted her arm behind her back. I would never. Uche backhanded her across the mouth. The coppery taste of blood flooded her tongue. Liar! Mama Nkechi saw you collecting mushrooms by the evil forest last dry season. Outside, lightning split the sky, illuminating the gathering cloud. Neighbors peered from their compounds, but none intervened. Not even Mami Beji, who had delivered Chioma and Ada into the world. The village has chosen its side. They dragged her half naked through the mud, past the accusing eyes and whispered curses. Ashewo spat one woman. She probably poisoned him to run to Lagos men. At the village square, the brothers tied Chioma to the ancient Iroko tree, where criminals were punished. Uche produced a bullwhip made of hippopotamus hide, a tool used for generations. The first lash stole her breath. The second drew her blood. By the fifth, Chioma's screams had died to whimpers. The new village head, Chief Nwankwo, Uche's father-in-law, finally stopped them. Enough! Let the white man's law deal with her, as 2 policemen roughly shoved her into their rickety van. Chioma's swollen eyes found Uche's triumphant smirk. No lawyer will touch this case, he murmured, pressing a sweaty palm against the window. You will die in prison, witch. The van spotted away, leaving Umuri behind in a cloud of red dust. One thought sustained Chioma through the pain. Ada. If only Ada knew. But Lagos was a world away, and friends, no matter how dear, forget. A distant friend hears the news. The air conditioning hummed softly in Ada's spacious Lagos office as she reviewed case files, the city lights twinkling beyond her floor-to-ceiling windows. Her gold-plated pen hovered over a contract when her assistant, Tunde, entered with the evening papers. Madam, you might want to see page 7, he said quietly, placing the papers on her mahogany desk. Ada absent-mindedly flipped through until 3 words leaped out like a slap. Umuri village woman. The headline screamed, childless widow arrested for husband's murder. No legal representation available. And then at the bottom of the paragraph, a name that sent her world tilting. Chioma Okeke. The pen slid from Ada's fingers. Her mouth went dry as harmattan dust. That smiling girl who'd shared roasted corn with her under the mango tree, now accused of murder? Her polished nail dug into the newspaper as she read the horrific details. The beatings, the rushed trials, the village elder's condemnation. A grainy photo showed a haggard woman being dragged into a police van. But those hollow eyes were undeniably Chioma's. Tunde jumped when Ada suddenly stood, her chair crashing backwards. "Cancel all my appointments," she said, her voice trembling with quiet fury. "Get me the next flight to Enugu and tell Emmanuel to meet me there. He will be managing preliminary defense." The return to the village. The private car ride from Enugu to Umuri churned up memories with every pothole. Ada stared out at the familiar landscape, the towering Iroko trees, the women balancing firewood on their heads, but her mind reeled at how much had changed. Her tailored chancel suit drew stares when she entered the dingy magistrate court in Umuahia. Junior advocate Emmanuel rushed to her side, frustration lining his face. "Madam, they won't listen to reason. The prosecutor is the victim's cousin and the judge. Let me handle this," Ada cut in, straightening her pearl necklace like armor. Whispers erupted as she entered the crowded courtroom. "Is that not Wando's daughter? Look at her, coming back with her city ways. She thinks money can buy justice." Then she saw her. Chioma sat slumped on the defendant's bench, wrists raw from handcuffs, in a faded wrapper that hung loose on her gaunt. The vibrant girl who once raced to the stream now moved like an old woman, wincing as she shifted on the wooden seat. Their eyes met across the stuffy room. A lifetime passed in that moment. Birthday celebrations, shared secrets, a childhood promise whispered under the stars. Chioma's cracked lips parted. No sound came out, but Ada read the words perfectly. Ada. The senior advocate felt hot tears threaten her mascara. Deliberately, she crossed the room and took Chioma's callous hands in her manicured ones. "You came," Chioma rasped, the words barely audible. Ada squeezed her fingers, remembering their childhood oath. She leaned close, inhaling the familiar scent of shea butter beneath the stench of prison, and whispered against her friend's ear, "Did you ever doubt I would?" Behind them, Uche jumped to his feet. "This is an abomination. That witch has no right to." "Sit down, Mr. Okonkwo." Ada's courtroom voice boomed like thunder. Silencing the room, she turned to face the judge, her designer heels clicking with finality. "Your Honor, I will be taking over this case personally." Ada caught Chioma's disbelieving smile as she gavel slammed. The first light in those eyes since the nightmare began. The shocking truth. A courtroom buzzed like a disturbed beehive as Ada dismantled the prosecution's case. With medical records from Enugu General Hospital, she proved Okeke had died from advanced liver disease, likely caused by viral hepatitis. "And this," Ada declared, slamming a soiled notebook on the judge's bench, "is the herbalist record showing Chioma purchased medicines for her husband's pain and not poison." But her masterstroke came when she called Elder Nwoke, the village's oldest man, bent with age. He testified in a quivering voice. Uche boasted at the palm wine shed, saying with Chioma gone, they will sell the farmland to the oil company. Scream erupted. The judge's eyebrows shot up. Ada turned to the gallery, where Uche sat sweating. So this was never about justice. It was just greed. The gavel fell like an axe. Case dismissed. Outside, Chioma trembled in the sunlight, her wrists still bearing shackled marks. The villagers who cursed her now avoided her eyes. Ada draped a shawl over her shoulders, only then noticing how it hung loose on her once curvy frame. "Let's go home," Ada murmured. Chioma stared at the space where her hut once stood. Uche had burnt it down after her arrest. "I have no home," she whispered. Ada's grip tightened. "Yes, you do." Lagos, a terrifying wonder. The city assaulted Chioma's senses. Honking downforce, spewing fumes, towering buildings, blocking the sun, hawkers shouting in languages she didn't know. She clutched Ada's arm in the elevator, particularly the metal box, which would plummet. That first night in Ada's Ikoyi mansion, Chioma bathed 3 times but still felt village dirt clinging to her skin. She slept on the floor beside the bed, unable to trust the floating cloud mattress. Threads of new beginning. Ada's driver took Chioma to Balogun Market every morning, where she learnt with Hajia Binta, learning to string Venetian beads into elaborate necklaces. Initially, her callous fingers struggled with the delicate work. Gradually, her designs were merged with traditional Umuri patterns with a modern twist. One humid afternoon, a customer lingered at the store. "These colors, they tell a story," murmured a deep voice. Chioma looked up into the kindest eyes she's seen since Chidi. A tall, broad-shouldered man with a teacher's badge pinned to his shirt. "Mr. Okafor returned every Friday, always buying 2 bracelets. One for my niece and one for no one really." Their courtship unfolded over shared gala at bus stops and stolen moments before his afternoon classes. When he knelt outside her new boutique with a simple silver ring, Chioma's tears washed away the last of Umuri's dust. During the wedding ceremony, as Ada adjusted Chioma's coral beaded veil, Chioma quietly expressed her gratitude, stating, "You not only saved me but also restored my sense of self." Ada squeezed her hand as the drums began, their childhood promise now a lifeline that has spanned 2 worlds. The final test. The phone rang in the dead of night. Ada woke up with a start, her heart pounding before she even heard the words. "It's Chidi." Her husband's voice cracked. "He is burning up. The hospital said it's bad." At the emergency unit, doctors moved like angry bees. Machines beeped wildly. Ada's 8-year-old lay still as dead, his small chest barely moving. "His blood levels are dangerously low," the doctor said. "He needs blood transfusion now." Ada and her husband rolled up their sleeves, but the test came back not enough, the nurse said. Ada's knees buckled. Her husband caught her just as Chioma burst through the doors, still wearing her nightie. She came the moment she had. "Test me," Chioma said, pushing up her sleeve. The doctors hesitated. "Madam, are you family?" Ada's voice shook. "She is more than family." The needle pricked Chioma's arm, the machine beeped. The doctor's eyes widened. "Perfect match," he whispered. As Chioma's blood flowed into Chidi's vein, Ada watched the color return to her son's face. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Chioma smiled and squeezed her hand. News of Chioma's heroic act spread through Umuri like harmattan fire. The villagers gathered under the ancient Udala tree where Elder Nwoke stood, his gnawed hands raised for silence. "Children of Umuri," his voice boomed, "hear this truth louder than the Ekwe drum. Good friends never forget each other. Even when life changes them, their heart stays connected forever." He pointed to the scarred earth where Chioma's hut once stood. "We shamed an innocent woman, but see how the city woman remembered her childhood friend. That is the kind of friendship the ancestors bless." The villagers bowed their heads in shame. Young Amaka, who once threw stones at Chioma, now tied friendship beads around her wrist. One red for Ada and one blue for Chioma. As the sun set, the village children began a new song. Two friends, one promise, through fire and flood. No wealth can break it, no time can rust. And so Umu relearned, far too late, but just in time, that true friendship is the only wealth that never fades. The moral of the story: true friendship is not measured by wealth or distance, but by the strength of loyalty and the depth of love. A real friend can cross oceans for you in darkest hour, not because they owe you, but because their heart still works with yours.